Chris. Good afternoon. All right, before we start, there's a special place in heaven for anyone who has a sty. And coming into this, which you guys could probably see, and it's been a little stressful the last couple weeks, but I almost Ronnie Lotted it and cut off my eyelid. So I am here. You got to play hurt. I want to thank our staff for being here. I haven't gotten to see everyone today. Thank you for taking time to come over. Obviously, this is a big announcement for us and really appreciate our staff. I want to thank you all for being here and helping us tell our story. I want to thank our president, who was instrumental in this and very much helped through this process. I want to thank OGC, Matt Weil, Matt McGee specifically. It takes a team. There are a lot of people that play a part in a decision like this and ultimately the timeline and you know, getting to this place of what I feel could be epic. And I also want to thank the Pac-12. It's been a very obviously stressful process, but very positive, and you all know me well enough. I'm very passionate, especially when it's telling our story. And to be included in something like this, I have so much hope and faith, and I'm bullish on who we are and what we can become. And that's important to me. That's important in terms of the decision that we made in regards to what's best for our student athletes, what's best for this institution, what's best for this state, and we are the front porch of Idaho. And that weighed heavily on everything that went into this process and ultimately why I'm standing in front of you. I also want to say thank you to the Mountain West. It's going to be an uncomfortable 2 years. We understand that. I have a lot of great relationships in the Mountain West. I'm a relational person, and that very much weighs on me. I understand the uncomfortableness that this has caused them and some of my teammates in the Mountain West in terms of other athletic directors. And I can't say enough about our commissioner, Gloria, and the work that she's done, and just really grateful for them, but understanding I have to do what's best for Boise State. And that's what I feel we did today in terms of this announcement. When you think about our revenue generation and revenue opportunities moving forward and potential opportunities that we haven't even put pen to paper on yet, I feel very confident in terms of where we're at today and where we're going to be 5 years from now. We are investing in us and our future. I'd mentioned the student athletes earlier, and that's important to me. I want 18 sport programs, and I want them to be elite, and part of my job is leading them through that and investing back into their programs. I feel this provides that opportunity as well. And ultimately, our competitive excellence. When you look at the Pac-12 and the history and tradition they are, and who we are and the brand we've built over the last 30-plus years that I'm so fortunate as our leader to inherit, my job is to enhance it and grow. We're bar raisers. We're going to continue to raise this bar, and I feel this decision impacts us for many years to come. It's always a great day to be a Bronco, but today is special, and it's a day we'll look back on, and I'm excited for what's next. With that, I'll open up for questions.
This has been a long-time dream for Broncos fans. Just, when did it all come together, and how did it all come together?
Yeah, I think, 3.5 years ago when I arrived, this conference realignment has been constant. And you're always thinking about, I'm always thinking about what's next. And as you saw the Pac go through what they went through and teams leaving to the Big Ten and the ACC, and the Big 12, that's when it really started. You started thinking through that process. And ultimately, our conference had the scheduling alliance, and I'm really grateful for that this year. And I think it's going to help us from a strength of schedule standpoint and so on and so forth. But once those negotiations ended, I think it really opened our eyes to what possibilities could be in terms of recreating a conference. And to be a part of that on the front end and be a founding member with the other 4 Mountain West or 3 Mountain West schools and 6 in total, I felt like that was a really good opportunity for us to run out the ground balls on, and that's what we did, and resulting in today's announcement.
Obviously, a few more teams are going to be needed by 2026. How big of a say does Boise State and the other 5 schools have in deciding those additions?
We have a seat at that table. We're one of 6, and ultimately, as a group, we will determine what the future looks like. A lot goes into that process, and I can't speak specifically on who and what that timeline is, but we know we need to add at least 2, and everyone has a different preference, and that's where we'll come together as a group and figure out what that looks like moving forward.
You talk about this story of joining the Pac-12. They have 109 years of rich history, all sorts of sports. PSU is very dominant in football, but what about other Bronco sports?
In regards to how we fit in this new Pac-12? Yeah, I have the same expectations that I do for football. I've been very open and public about that. You know, quite honestly, it bothers me that everyone views us as football and everything else. You know, I can go down the list, and I know we don't have time, but in terms of the success of all of our programs. Now, are we a finished product? No. But I have a vision, we have a vision, and I have teammates in front of me, behind you all, that are bought into this vision that we have 18 sport programs, 350-plus student athletes, and our job is to do what's best for them and continue to invest in them and grow our overall brand as an athletic department. I don't want to just be known as a football program. And I think the football program, obviously, they've created this foundation, and we're all very grateful for that. But I believe in what Gordy's doing. I believe in what Tina's doing in gymnastics. I believe in what Pat and what he's done already in track. I believe in Kaylin and Trainer and Allison, and I mean, the list goes on. I need to make sure I mention everyone. Did I get everyone? Schultz, maybe not Justin. I'm kidding. I believe in Justin. You know, that's important to me. And I know it's important to our team, and that's what we represent. When you're the front porch of a state, you know, we expect competitive excellence across the board. And I'm really proud of our team. Through very uncomfortable times, COVID, et cetera, new AD, a lot of transition, and they continue to show up, and they continue to do the work, and we continue to find success on and off the field of play. It takes a team, and that's my vision, that all 18 sports are going to elevate because of this.
I know you said you won't name specific schools, but when you look at, you know, who to add, what are you looking for in a school for the other spots in the conference?
Yeah, I think it ties into the schools that are, you know, obviously we're chosen for this. You know, innovation is important to us. We cannot operate the same way as we have in the past and expect different results. We cannot live in sanity. We have to be different. We have to think differently. There's going to be other revenue opportunities. There's going to be, in terms of when we schedule our events and what that looks like with this new media deal. And so we need partners that are going to buy into that vision, that we are not a finished product. And in my opinion, we have the next 5 years to determine the next 30 for us. And we have to double down, and I'm going to always bet on us.
The word that's been used a lot over the last 12 hours is like-minded. The Mountain West 4 and the Pac-2, what is the common thread that makes you guys like-minded?
The common thread, it's a great question, Prater. You know, I think our competitive excellence, you know, and talking to those ADs, and as we went through these conversations, hearing what their ultimate visions are and their goals, it's not surviving. There's a difference when you go out to survive versus succeed. It's a different mindset. It's what we've tried to build over the last 3.5 years. Whatever we don't have, we're going to go out and get. If it takes us 3 years to get shovel and ground, if not longer, in terms of the north end zone, we're going to find a way. And the more I talk to those athletic directors, the more that was apparent. They are not settling. They are going to invest, and they're going to continue to be bar raisers at their own institutions. I'm very grateful for them, and we need to find people that are going to abide by that. I don't want to live in sanity. I can live with failure, you know, and I'm not here to guarantee success. That's not who I am. I will guarantee our work ethic. I will guarantee and bet on my team, and I believe we can build something epic.
In terms of that, like
can you speak to the breakup fee, the 17-18 million that'll be paid to the Mountain West?
Yeah.
The Pac-12 will pick up some, we've heard, but
Yep.
Going forward, that $7 to $8 million per year, can a new television contract recoup that money?
Correct. Great question, and yes, we're going to get the terms out to everyone. You know, usually, and this is, you know, not my decision, it's our decision. Usually I give you guys head coach contracts and whatever, especially you, so you don't have to email me. Okay? You wouldn't email, you wouldn't. But we are going to get those terms out, and I think you hit it right on the head. It's going to be a combination of things, but you know, when you're weighing the risk reward, there was too much reward for us not to take this risk. There's always risk. That's part of being a CEO in athletics or an athletic director. There's always risk, but I believe in what we're building, and I believe there's a lot of potential, and ultimately it will be better for us in the long run.
Do you guys have to commit to any kind of stadium expansion or infrastructure upgrades or anything like that? I think I saw you said something, Jay, about new turf, or we know about the North End Zone project, but what else is?
Yeah,
coming, I guess?
what Jay was asking me, for those that haven't seen what he put out, is, you all know me well enough that we're not stopping. We're already on to what's next. And I was mentioning future projects. And the goal is, not the goal, we will get it done, to turf the outfield in softball. We got to change out the grass and the pitch, as coach tells me, in soccer, and we got to replace the blue. They last about 8 to 10 years, and we're probably 7 or 8 on this blue. And when you look at the North End Zone, we're probably going to have to replace some of it anyway. So those are the projects. To answer your first question, BJ, there were no commitments as of yet. When you think about the term sheet, obviously we have to go through the long form. When you think about that, potentially that could rise. One of the things we have talked about as a group, which I think is important, are minimum standards. We have to elevate, and we cannot go limping into this conference July 1st, 2026. We are going to hit it ground running. And between now and then, it gives our team a path that we're going to continue to invest and put our best foot forward come July 1st, 2026.
What convinced you, or what the potential, Jeremiah, of this new media rights deal that's going to come of this conference? Like, what interests you about that potential?
Yeah, I mean, once again, you look at the success of the teams that we're aligning with. You look at the potential teams that we could add. You look at the various media markets. You look at the Pac-12 enterprises, which I'm bullish on. I see a lot of value in that. We're big on telling our story and streaming and what's coming. I feel like this gives us an opportunity to be on the front end of creating something that could be epic and to have a seat at that table. And it's much easier to create than it is to undo what's been done in the past. And I think that's what I saw that will lead to more revenue opportunities. And the list is endless. Our industry is changing by the hour, and we cannot operate like it was 2005. We have to continue to think differently, and ultimately, I think this is going to give us best opportunity to do that. And you look at the Pac and some of the things that they were well ahead of the curve on. I think those things still hold true today. I don't think they were off base at all, and that is hence the investment they had in Pac-12 enterprises. They were right on, and fortunately we get to be a part of that now, and I think that's going to result in ancillary revenue opportunities, and we're always going to look in terms of our own department.
Were the media rights the key sort of factor here? Obviously the two most obvious paths were Mountain West bringing in the 2 remaining Pac-12 schools, or what's happening today.
Yeah.
Mountain West has a long-term deal. Pac-12 essentially no longer does. They have the short-term, I think, CW deal.
Yes.
Was that kind of the thinking? We go to Pac, we can sign a new deal versus the Mountain West, we'd be hobbled? What was the there?
Well, the Mountain West is going to go to the market here soon too. I think when you look at collectively the number of schools and how that pie is being split, and I think that ties into the decision of how many schools we ultimately add. I believe that we will, even at minimum, if we get to 8, that we will have more revenue from our media rights deal than we currently have where we're at. And that's enough for me that says this is a good decision.
A couple people tried to pin you down on timeline. BJ did it this morning. You just heard it here. You've been very vague. Is there a reason why you're vague? Is there more specific?
Vague in terms of what timeline?
The timeline that this came together. Is there more specificity to be had, and if not, why?
That's a good question, Don. Obviously, there's conversations that take place with various people. Where this really started, and I believe I was more specific this morning, but I'll be more specific now, where the conversations really started to escalate was after the negotiations ended with the Mountain West and the Pac-12. In terms of the scheduling alliance, yes. And I believe I said this on BJ's show this morning. When you look at like the start of this week, I was not envisioning standing in front of you today. it escalated over the last 48 hours of this is happening. Are you in, are you out? We already had talked through numbers and various data points, and I'm very analytical when it comes to decisions like that. And obviously conversations were taking place of whether or not we feel this is best, along with the ADs talking to each other, and we got up to a comfortable place last night when the term sheet was signed.
Dr. Trump's testifying at Big City today. She's not here. What role did she play in this?
Very much part of it. I don't, there's not many things I do in our department that I'm not leading up into her and letting her know what's going on and why I think what I do. And so along the way, I've brought her into the fold and kept her in the loop on here's what they're saying, here's what I think, and you get to a place that we were both aligned and we felt like this was what was best.
You talk about that risk versus reward, and you mentioned some of the rewards that are going to be coming to BSU, but for the Pac-12, and what's rewarding for the Pac-12 for you and the 3 other schools that are going to be joining?
Well, one, they have 2 teams right now. And ultimately, they have a scheduling alliance for this year, not next year. And so the value of creating a conference and holding on to that tradition and history and brand that they represent is extremely valuable to them. And I think that was probably a driver. You know, everyone has options. This was one of many options that our team was looking at. Everyone's goal is to improve their situation today, that it's different tomorrow. And that's what they were doing through this, and that's where those conversations escalated when we felt like, all right, there's alignment, there is value, and more value than where we're at, and my job is to do what's best for Boise State.
Any more? Good to go. All right, thank you.
Thank you all. Go Broncos.